Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. It's Mr. Lickett here. Today I'm coming at you with something sweet. It's a Minecraft Bedrock 1.18 tutorial. Let's go ahead and step outside, and we'll go ahead and walk forward and see what we're going to be baking up today. Now, what we're looking at here today is a passive, stackable, and modular farm for sugarcane and bamboo. It can also be used for twisting and weeping vines, but that's really it. This is piggybacking off of one of my last videos with the monostable circuit that you see here. A very small circuit can be expanded out as long as your redstone signal will let it go. So that means all of these farms will fit in one chunk. Right here we have the 11 by 11 version, which is really 3 pistons on every single side, and that's the simplicity of it. All the hoppers there are all of the hoppers you'll see that you need for any one of your builds. You need the same exact amount of hoppers on either side as you do as you have pistons. It's really that simple. We got an 11 by 11, a 13 by 13, and a 15 by 15. So that means they all fit within one chunk. You can set your storage up however you'd like it to. If you want to go into a chest, you want to go to a composter, even if you want to set a rail line underneath it, it's fine. Everything works. Okay, so something interesting about this is obviously the bigger you go, the more you get. It's a passive farm. It's not powered by bone meal. It's not powered by anything like that. So it's all just being in the loaded area makes it grow and work. Sugarcane grows roughly 18 minutes, I think it is. About 18 minutes per thing. For this 11 by 11 that we're going to be building here today, for 24 sugarcane planted, you get about 23 back per hour. This one right here with the 3 pistons. I'm going to keep going in and out of saying 11 by 11 or 3 by 3, because either way, it's 3 by 3 pistons, it's 11 by 11 total size. This 5 piston one, the 13 by 13, you get 24 sugarcane per hour with 40 planted. So it doesn't seem as worth it to build it medium sized. But for the 15 by 15, the 7 piston one, you get 66 per hour with 56 of them planted. And that's just 2 layers. All of these rates are just for 2 layers, like you're looking at here. Like I said, you don't have to use it for sugarcane if you don't want to. That is one of the slower growing ones. It works a little bit better for bamboo if you don't want a bulky, whole, giant field flying machine version of one and just a passive farm. That's nice. So let's get into the actual build of it. Like I said, all of this fits in one chunk here. So I have a chunk marked out. I'm going to be building the 3 by 3. Like I said, you can just expand it outwards. It's literally just adding 1 extra piston on either side, or 2 to one side. It doesn't really matter. You see, it's the same circle each time. You make the monostable circuit, then you put a 2 space, you make the other circuit. It's very simple. It's a square, it's stackable. You only need 2 monostable circuits per floor. It's a pretty simple farm. So let's get this started with a little bit of quickness. We got 3 going down on either side in the M. You can see that there. You can go back on one side, like I said, or back by 1 or 2 each time. You space it out individually for the chunk you're in. Put your observers facing towards the plant. Put your pistons in. And now, like you see, we get the grass. We're going to put our grass right in here in the bottom. If you want more in-depth information on this circuit, watch my monostable circuit video. Shameless self-promotion. Now, a lot of this farm is rinse and repeat. You're literally building the same thing on one side you built on the other side. And then you're building the same thing on top of the rest of it that you built on the rest of it. You put your observers facing in, your piston out, you run your minimal redstone wiring up. It's pretty much ready to go as is. Just right here like this, I could put bamboo in it if I wanted to, but there's no hoppers or anything yet. Gravity block, obviously. I'm choosing green concrete powder because it's what I like to use for farms like this. I'm going to pop our grass in here. Now the only difference is I'm going to be building this with the bottom floor slightly different than the top floor, just so you can see. Now we put our hoppers in here, and these are the only hoppers you need in the main system. Whatever storage system you hook it up to after this might need more hoppers, but these are the only ones you will need to put in the main system. However many pistons there are, that's how many hoppers you need in front of it. Plain and simple. Now we'll just dust this all up. You can see that happening, and there you go. That's one layer of the farm essentially done right there. You need glass walls in the middle and a little bit of light if you want to have things not spawn in there, but other than that, it's pretty much done as is. You just got to keep building it up and up. Now, I have this all sped up for two reasons. One, it's a pretty simple build. It's just a lot of the same thing over and over again. You've seen me build one part of it, you've seen me build the entirety of the rest of the thing. But, here's the thing. Right over here, you can see I have the water in here. Now, that's what makes it able to use the sugarcane and be so compact. Normally, in old zero-tick farms, the water would be inside the farm. Same amount of hoppers, essentially. The whole gambit, but you don't have to hide it now, or you didn't have to hide it before. Like, before it was a necessary part of the farm, now it's not a necessary part of the farm. So, as long as we can still hydrate the grass block and get it to grow, you don't have to grow sugarcane in it. You can change your crop out. You could use bamboo in it even if you put the water in, or if you never put the water in because you don't want to, you don't ever have to. That's fine. This part of the video is for if you want to put the water in and use it. Now you put your temporary blocks in, you build a little bit of a basin right behind this grass block on every side. That's it. It's really that simple. You're going to need 2 water buckets minimum for either side of it to make source blocks and make it all whole. That's fine. Easy peasy. You get that done, and you can put your blocks right over the top of that. See here, this is pretty simple. You put it all in, and then we're going to throw our water buckets in. Bam, I'll throw 3 in there, 2 in there. Yep. Boom, 2. 1, 2. Yep. And now all you really got to do is build the corners of the farms up, and the inner wall is what comes last, but we'll talk about that at the end. Now you just put your solid blocks right on top of the water, and you're good to go. Now you go, layer done. I didn't do this in the bottom because I built this one into the ground, but I wanted to show you the difference of how you can do it and how easily you can do it as you start building upwards. It seems daunting, but it's not as crazy as it is. You put your glass in there, you build it right up, so you have no sugarcane or whatever crop of your choice escaping, and that's it. I'm going to bust some of these out in a moment here, and break that. Yep. We'll fix that redstone. Dust, dust, dust. Luckily, it's not a complicated circuit. I hardened that concrete. Let me grab another one. Alright. Put that back down. Easy done. Now, just put that right on top there, your sea lanterns, and you're good to go. This is exactly how you would build up every layer of the farm. It's just like this. It's passive and stackable. It makes you be able to fit a large amount of passive farm into a small area. So if you need to fit this into a certain build, or fit this into a chunk on your farming area, very, very easy to do. And especially keeping it within one chunk makes it easily to have like a minecart unloader system underneath it, or just a cart going around it without having to disappear and having to worry about those bedrock issues of chunk border minecarts, because I'm sure we've all experienced it at one point or another. So now we're gonna put this back here for our circuits. It's really easy. There is so little redstone to this farm. It's passive, it's all observer based. It costs less observers than your mainline observer based passive farm, where you have the piston on top and the observer in the middle, or vice versa, and all that. So now you go in here, you can see this is pretty much the last part of the farm you need to do. You have the glass wall on the inside, or it doesn't even need to be glass. None of this really needs to be glass. In fact, I'm just doing this so you can see what I'm doing and what blocks I'm putting down. That's realistically it. You could cover this thing entirely in stone if you want to, especially with light sources in there. Now we're going to throw our crops in. You'll see here, I'll struggle to get inside a little bit, but that's fine. I'm going to realize here in a moment that I didn't put water on the bottom layer because I told you I wasn't going to earlier on, but that's okay. You can see, you could plant both crops, both in here, bamboo, sugarcane. You could use this for pretty much any crop that grows like that. Like I said, twisting vines, weeping vines. You could even do a version of this if you flooded the entire thing with kelp. But those are different farms that are coming in the near future. I'm going to work on modified versions of this for that. Now, all of this comes off the back of a zero-tick farm I designed back before 1.16, which used this similar design, but it was all zero-tick. So the hoppers and the grass were not in the same exact spot. There was hoppers, grass, and the staircase. Besides the point, that whole farm is dead. Right now, you see me building up this is what it would look like as a third layer. You can go from here. All of my testing has been on 2 layers, so at least I could multiply it up each time. So like, for example, I would imagine I would get about 46 per hour from a 4-layer version of the one you just see me build, as opposed to the 23 per hour 2-layer one. All well and fine. That's still not as good as 2 layers of the 15 by 15, which would get me 66 per hour, but that's okay. It all depends on what you're trying to fit this in and how big you're trying to go. It may seem like it's costly in pistons and observers, but in fact, it's cheaper than most of the other farms you would use of this style. That's pretty much, you're only using 4 observers for every, X amount of pistons you're using. So the more pistons you're using, the better. Now, I hope you learned something here. I hate to do the corny YouTuber thing, but please like and subscribe, comment down below if you did.